Washington's foreign and defense chiefs hold security talks. The United States pledges to guarantee comprehensive deterrence measures for its ally. South Korea's spy agency says North Korea's leader feels his personal safety is under threat as the regime's continual provocations loosen his grip on power. And the third and final U.S. presidential debate kicks off in Las Vegas in a few hours. Pundits say it might be Donald Trump's last chance to swing undecided voters after a rough few weeks. These and more coming right up. Hello, it's Thursday, October 20th here in Seoul. Welcome to our newscast. I'm Hwang Ji-hye. Our top story this morning, the United States has once again pledged that it will provide firm and extended deterrence measures for South Korea to counter the rising threats posed by North Korea. The pledge came during a meeting between Seoul and Washington's foreign and defense chiefs in Washington on Wednesday local time. Holding a joint press conference with South Korea's Foreign Minister Yoon Byung-se after the talks, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry said the allies do not and will not accept North Korea as a nuclear-armed state. He added that Pyongyang's continued provocations not only threaten regional stability, but also violate UN Security Council resolutions. Kerry also said the allies will up and energize what they've already been doing to further pressure North Korea. Minister Yoon said practical details on extended deterrence against North Korea will follow meetings of a new high-level bilateral body. South Korea's top diplomat also said the two sides will pursue North Korea's human rights abuses, overseas slave labor, and increasing info access in the north. Meanwhile, South Korea's intelligence agency says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un fears for his own personal safety and is taking measures to protect himself. This as the regime continues to pour hundreds of millions of dollars into developing missiles and nuclear weapons. Kwon So-ah has the details.
This year's parliamentary audit into South Korea's intelligence agency has unveiled new information about the North Korean regime. At a closed-door session held on Wednesday at the National Intelligence Service headquarters, the agency's head Lee Byung-ho indicated that there is growing instability within the reclusive state. He said that North Koreans' disillusionment with their leadership has worsened and that the number of defectors who entered the South increased by 20% this year compared to the year before. Furthermore, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un seems to be going through health issues with cardiovascular conditions suspected of getting worse due to his heavy drinking and overeating. Addressing concerns over his weakening power grip, Kim is said to have heightened security measures, enforcing systems that detect explosive and toxic substances. Also, Kim is reportedly changing his scheduled public appearances frequently due to anxiety. Regarding North Korea's continual attacks on the South, the intelligence chief revealed that roughly $200 million had been invested into nuclear and missile development programs this year. He also noted that the number of cyber attacks have been on the rise, more than twice the annual average over the past 3 years. Security firms and internet banking software are being targeted continuously, and South Koreans are being scammed on gambling websites run by the North. Kwon So-ah, Arirang News.
China has expressed regret over illegal fishing in South Korean waters and said the Chinese government will not avoid its responsibility and solve the issue according to the law. This came as Seoul's Deputy Foreign Minister for Political Affairs Kim Young-jin met with his Chinese counterpart Kung Shuan-yu on Wednesday. The latest incident that sparked tension between the two nations involved the sinking of a Korean Coast Guard boat by a Chinese fishing vessel earlier this month. The two sides also addressed the current situation on the Korean peninsula and exchanged their views on the deployment of the THAAD missile defense system in South Korea, which Beijing remains opposed to. President Park Geun-hye was in her political stronghold of Gyeongsang-buk-do province on Wednesday to promote and check up on her policies in the field. She vowed to foster new industries that can attract foreign investment and pledged to overhaul the manufacturing sector. Song Ji-sun reports.
Despite uncertainties and a slowing global economy, Korea has been attracting a constant influx of foreign investment. That includes a sum of $380 million for the next 5 years from a Japanese company building a new carbon fiber factory in Gumi National Industrial Complex. Attending the groundbreaking ceremony, President Park Geun-hye highlighted the need to lead the fourth industrial revolution by fostering new industries.
공급이 수요를 창출한다는 말처럼 기술이 획기적으로 변화하는 분야에서는 신제품이 수요를 자극해서 새로운 시장을 창출하게 됩니다. 땅을 파야 물이 고이듯이 이러한 신제품 개발을 위해서는 선제적인 투자가 필요합니다. 정부도 이러한 기업의 투자를 적극 뒷받침해 나갈 것입니다.
The government also vowed to support manufacturing innovation, pledging to invest $1.3 billion over the next 4 years. First built in the 1960s, over 1,000 sites nationwide have been designated as industrial complexes. To revamp their outdated facilities and improve operational efficacy, 2,600 traditional factories have been transformed into smart factories over the past 2 years, and that number is expected to top 10,000 by 2020. President Park also dropped by a traditional market in downtown Gumi to speak with the public and wrapped up her day with a visit to a folk village in Yeongju. There, she underscored the need for local governments to develop tourism programs that highlight regional features and products. Dubbed the K-Tour Best 10, the Korean government will select 10 themed tourism programs before the year end in order to boost local economies and attract visitors. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
South Korea has lived its own rags to riches story in the several decades since the end of the Korean War. Drawing on its experience, the country has been helping developing nations improve living standards using the same rule reform initiative that was the key to Korea's rapid transition. These steps were highlighted on Wednesday at a conference in Pyeongchang, and our Oh Soo-young was there and filed this report.
Korea has bolstered its commitment to helping rural communities around the world end poverty and create sustainable ways of living with its homegrown rural development model called Saemaul Undong. Interior Minister Hong Yoon-sik has taken that commitment one step further by forging bilateral agreements with his counterparts from East Timor and Kyrgyzstan during a 4-day Saemaul leadership conference in Pyeongchang. The Saemaul Undong movement transformed Korea's impoverished war-torn landscape into an economic powerhouse starting in the 1970s, improving not only agriculture and infrastructure, but also jobs, education and governance, in addition to promoting gender equality. Minister Hong remarked on the progress of Saemaul projects in East Timor, and East Timor's Justice Minister Dionisio Suarez expressed a desire to further expand pilot villages and human resources training.
After studying Saemaul Undong principles, which is basically based on changing mindset, self-reliance, and self-initiative, and also willingness to take it on from there to get out of poverty, our government think it is very important to embrace these values.
Korea had signed an MOU with Kyrgyzstan the previous day on the expansion of Saemaul projects and training in the country.
The Saemaul Undong has been the force behind major developments in several villages, especially in terms of building infrastructure. The MOU signed today marks a new chapter in expanding Saemaul-based development.
To further help countries localize the rural reform initiative, Korea's Interior Minister outlined several courses of action.
We're developing a Saemaul index to help countries localize and customize the initiative to their needs and stages of development, in addition to producing a comprehensive educational curriculum. Microfinancing for low-income villagers is also essential, so we will include that to share the Saemaul financial cooperative experience.
Korea will also support the Saemaul Global League, a network of more than 30 countries that launched on Wednesday to strengthen cooperation on further spreading and localizing the unique developmental initiative. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News, Pyeongchang.
The eyes of the world will be on Las Vegas in a little under 4 hours from now as Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump prepare to take the stage for the third and final U.S. presidential debate. The debate will begin at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, that's 10 a.m. Korea time, and will last an hour and a half with no commercials and no breaks. It will be divided into 6 segments on topics including immigration, economy, and fitness to be president. The latest polls show Trump is behind Clinton by up to 10 points, so he'll be under pressure to put in a strong performance. Adding extra spice to the debate, Trump has invited President Obama's estranged half-brother, Mike Obama, one of his supporters, as a guest. The final debate comes 20 days before the November 8th election day. The Federal Reserve says the U.S. economy has maintained a steady growth pace over the past couple of months as the labor market and wage growth contributed to the generally positive outlook. In its latest Beige Book report released on Wednesday, the Fed said that among its 12 districts, the majority indicated a modest or moderate pace of expansion, indicating the economy is generally on the right track. It said the job market was showing modest employment and wage growth, although some districts reported rising pressure for certain sectors. There is speculation the Fed might raise rates for the first time in a year in December if economic conditions remain favorable. Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte says the South China Sea arbitration case will take the back seat during talks with China. Currently on a state visit to China, Duterte said he has to be cautious and wait for China's president to mention it because he's a visitor to their country. China's foreign ministry says Beijing is happy to resolve the territorial dispute through consultation and dialogue. During his time in Beijing, Duterte is expected to confirm his tilt away from the U.S. and towards China's sphere of influence. He stressed that the Philippines is hoping, among other things, that Beijing will repeal a ban on imports of its bananas, an economic sanction intended to punish Manila for its South China Sea stance. A police officer in Seoul was shot and killed by a suspect wielding a homemade gun on Wednesday evening. The suspect, only identified by his family name Hong, was apprehended at the scene, but the 54-year-old lieutenant who was shot died in hospital during surgery. Police say Hong was carrying a number of weapons, including a gun made of wood, 7 knives, an explosive device, and a hammer. He was also wearing an electronic monitoring bracelet due to a previous sex offense. Police plan to investigate the suspect's motive as well as the state of his mental health during the time of the attack. Having a solid grasp of computer programming is a highly valuable skill in this day and age and can make you much more attractive to potential employers. To get with the times, not only is the Korean government promoting coding in schools, more young people are proactively educating themselves. Kwon Jang-ho has the story.
This is the Sumyeong Elementary School in Seoul, and these children in year 5 and 6 are in a special class learning to code.
These classes are much more fun than my other classes. I've really become interested in coding now and want to carry it on.
I look forward to Wednesday now, when we get to do this class, and I always go home happy.
The program they're using is Scratch. It's an open source software developed by MIT in the US. It's a fairly rudimentary program where users put blocks of commands together to form some sort of function. But it teaches the basics of computational logic and acts as a fun stepping stone to more advanced computer programming operations. The school is one of 900 that are part of a pilot program launched before the Korean government introduces compulsory coding education in middle and high schools by 2018 and elementary schools by 2019. Korea is a leading producer of digital hardware from mobile phones to TVs and laptops. But as important as that is, it's software that is set to fuel the fourth industrial revolution, and it's an area that Korea is looking to expand its capacity in.
We are moving to a society where even planes, cars and so forth are no longer just hardware, but run on software. So moving forward, we know that it's software that will run the world, and that's what we need to prepare for.
It's not just young kids who are getting in on the action. These university students are part of a coding club that aims to give those who have no experience with programming a chance to learn the basics in a non-intimidating environment.
I'm interested in starting my own business, and if you look at most startups nowadays, they are all IT related in some way now.
I've seen people who say they work all night for a week on Excel spreadsheets. It's just repetitive work that I could do with some computer coding. It saves time and helps me be more efficient, and I can spend time doing other things.
Computer technology is irrevocably intertwined in our lives now, but most of us don't know how it works. But there are hopes that having a whole new generation with the right computing education will enable them to get the most out of it. Kwon Jang-ho, Arirang News.
And that wraps it up for now. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Hwang Jie, and I'll be back in less than 2 hours for more news updates. So do stay tuned, and goodbye for now.